Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Ian with the Garage Rock band Rail City. And today I wanted to take a look at one of the coolest cheap guitars that you can get out there. This is the Kramer Striker 600 ST. You can see I've put my own artwork, my own artistic touch on it. And then this actually has an aftermarket neck. I think it's a Warmoth neck just by the wood itself. I haven't been able to take it off to see if there's a logo on the underside of the neck. But this neck is absolutely terrible. I would not recommend, if this is a Warmoth, I would not recommend their stuff at all. The frets are really, really high, and especially in the upper frets, when you're bending the strings down, you can bend these up almost a whole step. So, like, if you've got a nice guitar, like all the other guitars I have, and you press down this A note, let's say, it's going to sound like an A. And if you press it down really hard, it might be a little bit out of tune, but not too bad. With this, if I press down the A, it'll actually bend it all the way up to a B note. So this thing really, really needs a fret job, and I don't know how to do that stuff. But the neck is absolutely terrible, but the guitar itself, specifically the electronics, are absolutely amazing, out of this world. This blows anything you'll get from Fender, single coil guitar-wise, absolutely out of the water at the price point. You can get these for $250, $200 on eBay, easy. You don't have to twist anybody's arm or anything like that. I think a lot of, this is kind of a hair metal guitar. Even though this neck, quality-wise, is really bad, it looks cool, and the stock necks on these are actually really, really ugly, which I think is why somebody may have replaced this in the first place. But despite the unesthetic nature of these guitars, they're really, really ugly. They sound absolutely amazing. I think a lot of the hair metal crowd, who these were marketed to, have kind of given these the cold shoulder because they're very single coil oriented guitar. But as far as single coil sounds goes, or really any sound you could want out of a guitar other than a humbucker at the neck position, this guitar has it all. This has like almost a boutique style switch system and pickups whose quality is up there with some of the best guitars that I've ever played. So with the way the switch system works, there's like 1,000,001 different sounds you can get out of this guitar. Not really, but there's a lot. So the main thing to note here is the back switch here. When this is in the up position, the humbucker is in humbucking mode. As you'll see later when I play this guitar, this is a really nice sounding humbucker. Not too saturated and squealy. It's not very warm either, actually, but it is kind of a crisp, very present humbucker that there's not much to be desired of. I'm really happy with the humbucker in this guitar. And then this switch will actually go down to two other positions, and it's basically a coil split. So, this is humbucking. This, I think, is the outside coil, and this goes down to the inside coil. So, you can have the other two switches are on and off switches for these two pickups. You can have them off and get different, lead or two different different humbucking lead. You can get a humbucking lead sound and then two different single coil lead sounds. And then you can bring in these two other switches for a very, very wide array of sounds. You can have you can have them all switched on for a really juicy, crisp, all pickups on single coil sound. You could also click the middle one out for a Telecaster sound. If you want a really, I guess classic Telecaster sound, you can have single coil. And then if you want a fatter Telecaster sound, you just switch this up and it's humbucker single coil. So as you may have noticed as I was spinning this guitar around, this has what is seemingly a double locking tremolo system. So there's the lock at the nut, but it's actually just a single locking tremolo system. So the nut locks, and then this is what they call the Floyd Rose 2, which is, made in Germany by Schaller. Just like a real Floyd Rose, but it doesn't actually lock. These are just tubes that the strings go through. And if you see my video on the Charvel Avenger, it's the same sort of thing. And, I'll have the same feedback on this as I do the Avenger. It stays in tune better than not having something that locks at the nut, but it's very much, I would say, inferior to any any double locking tremolo system, but specifically an original Floyd Rose. Yeah, original Floyd Roses are like titanium, indestructible. Only Superman can detune one. They're really, really tough to get out of tune and really reliable. This guy, not so much. Kind of going into tuning as well. It stays in tune pretty good if you've got the nut locked. Not exactly airtight, but these tuners, which even though this is an aftermarket neck, these are the original Kramer tuners. These tuners are really, really bad. They don't stay in tune very well at all. So you will need, in my opinion, to lock this at the nut to keep it in tune in any fashion whatsoever. Or, you could replace these with some fender locking tuners or something like that. Whatever you prefer, but yeah, these don't stay in tune at all. As we've been going through this, I feel like I'm trashing this guitar, but this is actually one of my favorite guitars that I have, other than the terrible aftermarket neck. The sound is absolutely amazing, once again, for the price point. It rivals that of, $1,000 guitars that I either own or have played before. And if you're somebody just starting out, and especially if you're on a limited budget, it's tough to beat this. Just the sheer volume of high, just sweet and juicy sounds that you can get out of this. I don't think I've ever found anything that can match this. Let's take a listen to how this guitar sounds, and I'll let you, gauge it against your personal preferences, see if it's your thing. Once again, this guitar is kind of ironic in that it's made for the hair metal crowd, and it doesn't sound very hair metal-y at all and tends to alienate people. But if you want just really sexy single coils, this guitar definitely delivers every single time. I'm going to be plugging into a Mesa Express 550. It's got ruby tubes in it, and it's being mic'd with a dynamic guitar mic, and then the distortion is a Big Muff Pi. Hope you enjoyed the review and tour of this guitar. Once again, one of my faves. Such a, I guess, square peg in a round hole, but sometimes a square peg is what you need. And this thing sounds really good. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, so this has, even before the string broke in the video, this has 2 B strings in it. One tuned to B and the other tuned to A. So I don't know if you noticed that or not. But if you have any questions about this guitar, once again, this is a perfect beginner guitar. Feel free to ask me in the comments section. This is Ian with the garage rock band Rail City that has bukus of free music always. And yeah, I'll catch you around. Have a good day.